make it there and can make it back.
Salutations and shit, folks. Welcome back to another episode of your new favorite travel podcast, where I, your host, D. Carey, have an experiential conversation about the nuanced ways that travel intersects with regular life. And this, I can almost promise you, it's going to be a really quick one. My birthday's coming up, and many of us use birthdays as personal New Year's, a new start clock, a timer, if you will, on the year. I can't say that I really do that, but for the purposes of this episode, that's what I'm going to do. I fucking love birthdays. Love birthdays. They are, to me, your own personal holiday. And I'm a holiday girl. I enjoy a good celebration. And that's exactly what your birthday is. It's a celebration of you being here. And probably also because gifts are one of my primary love language, and birthdays also happen to be a gift giving holiday. So I kind of wanted to just do a quick little review. It was on my spirit this go around for episode content. I actually had a pretty good year. There, of course, were some, and I guess this will be an end shit kind of episode, to the travel and shit. But I did have a good year. I had not so great things happen, of course. However, overall, I look back and see more good than I see bad. I ended up doing a lot of local travel, mostly because I let my passport expire. Not necessarily intentionally, but I knew I wasn't going anywhere when it was going to expire because COVID. I didn't feel comfortable traveling internationally, so I didn't see any, rush to get it renewed. I also didn't really feel comfortable sending it out to essentially have it sit on a desk, or just between the post office having a real shit go at it over the past few years. And I didn't know if the passport office was even going to be open. I didn't know where my shit was going to end up. Now, heads up, it's taking, I want to say, I'm hearing 5 months for renewals. So I'm going to get on that soon, just because I know I absolutely want to have my passport for next year. And I don't want any issues getting it, renewing it. I don't want any holdups. So that is on my short list of things to do. Also on the ever-growing list of things I don't feel like doing. But in my head, I also feel like I'm going to try to make that a little tutorial as in terms of how to renew your passport, just so that anybody else that needs the information will have it. So I will fall on that sword for us all. It was really a year of just, I guess, reaffirming that I am very easy to entertain. It doesn't really take a lot to make me happy. I've always known myself to be a simple person. I enjoy the simple things in life. I'm one of those people that gets kind of easily, shiny. This is pretty. You have my attention. I'm even gonna hold you. I'm not difficult to make happy. And in that same vein, even without a passport, was also able to have what I feel to be a pretty fulfilling year of travel, all things considering. I haven't really felt comfortable doing long trips in terms of being on a plane for an extended amount of time with current climate of the world of health, the lack there of world health, that is. And we've done all road trips. And this has also been the first year I've ever had a partner to travel with. So, two, I won't say huge things, but two changes in the way I travel. I've always been a solo traveler, only because I live solo. It's just me and the dog. So the dog goes to my parents' house. Shout out to y'all. She'll be there Friday. My dog goes to the parents' house, and I take off. I go wherever I'm going, and I do it by myself. Many of you know I've done the 2 trips where I did go with a friend of mine, and I went with my mom to I took her to St. Martin for her birthday, and then we did the ferry to St. Bart's, spent the day there. That was a good time, really great trip. And I went to Alberta with a girlfriend of mine. Hey, Chris. We ended up doing a week hiking and doing all types of outdoor activities and exploring, mostly hiking. Great fucking time, both trips. But of course, on both trips, love both of these women, but we were ready to kill each other at some point in the week that we were there or so. My partner, on the other hand, we thankfully don't really have those same points of contention, if you will. And it's been a beautiful time. We are very compatible in terms of not just our relationship, but in our travel, travel desires or needs in order to enjoy travel. So it's been very enjoyable for me, at least. I mean, he ain't said nothing about being unpleased with the type of travel that we've been doing. So I've fucking loved it. And I don't know if y'all know, but I hate driving. I've always had a license. I've always had a car since I was 16. As a kid, I guess you don't really find nothing wrong with it. But as an adult, I don't enjoy it. I don't mind, a quick little trip if there's no traffic. But it's just, I don't know, y'all. I just don't enjoy fucking driving. So it's been quite the joy to also have a partner who enjoys or doesn't mind doing the things that I abhor. He doesn't mind driving. So for the most part, he does all the driving. For longer trips, or if we've got, more time in between our leaving and going, we'll split the drive. Anything longer than like 6 hours, I'm not making that man drive by himself. And there is no make. I don't believe it. We both grown. Neither one of us makes the other do anything. But yeah, on the drive to Vermont, I drove all the way there and he drove back. We loved Vermont. Vermont was a great time. We went during a good time of the year. So we did November in a cabin. The couple had like 20 acres of property. So there was plenty of space to hike and all that jazz. And good time of the year because there were no bugs. So they had a really cute little pond. Well, they had 2 ponds actually on the property. And, it was not good weather to swim, but it also made for no bugs. Since it was November, there was also no, at least during our stay, we didn't have any crazy wildlife. So that was also super clutch. So Vermont was a really good time for us. We had a nice, loving, enjoyable week in a random cabin in the woods. Then we did Philly. Philly was a great time. Shout out to Taylor. Shout out to Drew and Shira, Black Girl World Traveler. And we all linked up while we were out in Philly. We stayed in Gayborhood. We had an incredible time. We stayed at the Sonder property, which was actually pretty cute. I don't get why they didn't have any tables. There were no kitchen table, eating table, table to work, but it was a beautiful little stay. That was the only downfall to it for me. Philly was a good time for the friends, and everything we did was walking distance, and the weather was perfect. It was maybe 80, 90 degrees while we were there, and we did a lot of outside stuff in terms of doing the walking tour, the no reservations tour, which I would recommend. You can book that on Airbnb. And we did the African American History Museum out there. And what else did we do in Philly? We just did a lot of, it was a lot of food in Philly. Philly was cool for food. We pulled up and ate with friends a lot also. So Philly was like 2.5 hours, I think it took us to get there. So again, quick drive from New York made for an incredible weekend stay. And most recently we did Hartford, Connecticut, which was only 2 hours away. Again, straight from New York, easy drive, especially since I didn't do it. And we ended up staying at the beautiful Goodwin Hotel. Absolutely loved the stay. Everything was walkable. However, we already had events. There was stuff going on for it to be walkable too. So I would suggest if you're going to go to Hartford that you try to go when there's something that you're intending to do. They had the best food, hands down. I enjoyed the food the absolute most in Hartford. Between the best mac and cheese I ever had in my life at City Steam Brewery to the ever-loving Chef's Kiss jerk calamari at the Russell. Loved Hartford and the food. I also had a really good brunch dish. I don't remember what I got. I think it was, fish and grits. And that was from Black Eyed Sally's, I want to say. And music. There was Jazz Fest was live, and I went to go see Abe perform. Fantastic. Absolutely phenomenal artist. So I really feel like those trips in particular were a reminder in there's joy close to home. I don't have to go far. I don't have to make something complicated. I don't have to be really deep about something. Like, it doesn't have to intentionally be, detailed out to be, momentous. It doesn't take a lot to put together something that can be impactful. There's value where you assign it. And for me, just being able to spend quality time exploring with my partner and doing new things the same way I would do in these foreign countries was beautiful. It was enjoyable. And I really, really appreciate it and value it. And it was a really nice reminder when I think back on, how enjoyable these trips have been, that I don't have to orchestrate a super complicated, a super complex or ornate experience to get a very enjoyable and meaningful result from a trip. So I would absolutely recommend a road trip. One, it's way more cost effective unless you're doing like 89 flight round trip to get someplace. But then also that'll lead me to this travel anxiety that I'm having. I've never been so worried or so concerned about delays and like issues in the airport. So because of said expired passport, we're going to Miami for my birthday. And I am a part of a couple of different Facebook travel groups, and I've heard seen nothing but cancellations, delays on cancellations, just on top of between there being a pilot shortage and the airlines not having appropriate or adequate staff or planes to meet the demand. And I'm not even gonna hold you, the kid is nervous. We could always do our best. We get there, early enough that it's not on our fault. It's not on our end that there are complications. You can only do what you can do. But I'm super stressed about how this really simple and frequently done domestic flight is going to go. At least I will have Justin there to keep me calm. However, I tend to be a more calm person as is, so it'll probably be me keeping him calm. But at least we'll have each other to entertain ourselves. But driving is a much better way to control your circumstances, right? Especially when it comes to travel. You're the one on the road. You're the one behind the wheel. We all know that there are, of course, unforeseen circumstances that can occur, accidents and traffic. Things go wrong. That's never not going to be the case. Things are always going to be wrong. However, you've got a little bit more power and more control in how you decide to bounce back, or, you're just more in control when you're driving. If you decide, you know what, this rain is too much, it's a weather issue, I'm going to pull over and choose to sleep in my car or at the airport, versus I'm going to find some lodging. I am going to just call it a day and watch crappy cable on whatever, stations this little motel or hotel actually has available. Or you know what? So we're not going to be able to make it there today, or we can leave earlier, or we can leave later. There's so many different things and variables and factors that you can control when you are the person that's driving. And I've enjoyed that about the road trips. We can stop when we want. We can, leave as early or as late to mitigate the traffic that we're going to deal with. This way, we don't necessarily have to deal with crowded airports or crowded rest stops. That's all, for the most part, in our hands. And that has given me a lot more, I guess you could say, peace than I expected. I've enjoyed that aspect of being in control. And I also look forward to doing, many more road trips because of that. I enjoy control. I like being the master of my own ship, if you will. So the road trips have really been a distraction from, tropical destinations and, hikes up volcanoes and zip lining across rainforest types. Let's drive with somebody that I love, good music, good company, and a great destination. So overall, I really don't think that I've lost anything by not being able to do any foreign destinations. All it is not being able to check off countries on my list. Not that I have lost the desire to do these things, not that not that the value of those things has lessened in importance to me. I've just been able to fill my personal desire for excitement and newness in a different way. What else did I have here? I'm realizing that I tend to kind of be, one of the things that I also wanted to mention about road trips is that the beauty in doing something, I live in New York, so we all know everything's wildly expensive in New York, right? A 5-star hotel, currently out of my budget in New York, especially if I'm staying for more than one night. Like that one night staying at a really nice hotel on paper, because unless you're going to see them in person or taking personal recommendations, you look at the descriptions and the amenities and you go by what the reviews and the star rating is, and that's how you determine something's a 5-star hotel. You could also, I'm sure, visit a 5-star hotel in other countries and other places and realize, oh, okay, this isn't like a 4 seasons 5-star. This is just we hit all of these marks on the list of accommodations you have to provide in order to be considered 5-star. But all that being said, doing road trips and staying in places or mitigating my costs for travel have given me the opportunity to be able to afford nicer accommodations. I don't necessarily, in the United States, we don't have, entire house for $25 a night with a pool and 3 bedrooms. This isn't Bali. But I have been able to not stress or not sweat the cost of nice accommodations because they're in neighboring states. I've never stayed at a 5-star property until I went to Connecticut. I've never, at least to my knowledge, never stayed in a suite until, have I? I think I have. I don't know. I don't think I've ever booked a suite. let's go at it that way. I'm pretty sure I've never, in the United States, I'm pretty sure I opted for a suite, I think in Costa Rica, and I had to negotiate to get that. But yeah, in the States, I don't think that I had ever stayed like in a 5-star property or in a suite. And I was able to do that in Hartford because it's much cheaper than it is in New York. And had a really great experience there, as I've said. So I would suggest that if you're going to do things that are local, consider opportunities to indulge in amenities or, services that you may not necessarily be able to afford. Consider driving to, I don't know, Kentucky, or driving to, I feel like Colorado is expensive. Probably some areas in Colorado are more price accommodating, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of another. Idaho ain't really asking for no bread. They can't be. It's fucking Idaho. But try going to states or local areas, safety in mind, of course, where you're able to experience something a little bit more luxurious because it's not going to cost as much as where you live. And that's for especially all of my listeners that live in really big cities, So look into those options, cost-effective ways to step outside of your regular budgetary limits, because one, you're not having to pay for airfare, but also consider, you do got to pay for tolls, you do got to pay for gas, and things of those nature. It's not a free trip, but it's absolutely less expensive than if you were to fly. So that's one thing that I have been able to take advantage of. So road trips, if you haven't done it yet, start small. This is especially a great time if you already have your car, because we all know them car rental prices are nuts, insane. However, I will also say that while those prices may be insane, consider how long you're going to have the car going to where you want to go and what the cost of a flight to get there may actually be. So while it may be $75 a day, if the flight to get there is $500 round trip and it's only going to take you 2 days to get there, well, no, because then you're also going to have, damn y'all, you got to do the math. But if it's going to be like an overnight trip, or if it's something that is only a weekend, like if you're doing a weekend trip, it might actually be more cost effective to do the car rental than to book, a flight as an option. But that's something you got to look into. I have a car, so anything that's going from, or anywhere that we're going to from, drivable from where I'm at is no concern. So I don't got tips for every situation, but I'm going to tell you what I've done and what you can try as well. And also, you got to know, in every bag of advice, take what resonates, take what you can from it, and dismiss the rest. It's the same in all avenues and areas of life. If someone is giving you cooking advice, but you know that you don't eat meat, okay, so the meat portion of the recipe you may be able to ignore, but you substitute it with something that works for you, or you use other pieces of the recipe. You use the salad dressing portion of the meal's recipe, stuff like that, guys. I find that I have been doing a lot of thinging, if that makes sense. Tangible goods. I try not to be a hoarder of things. I try not to really buy crap that I don't need or that I'm not going to use. I used to have a rule that I'd put it in my cart, online, of course, because God forbid I go into a store. But I would put it in my cart and leave it there. And if like a day or 3 days later or a week later, I still want it, then I would buy it, because it would kind of give me that gauge of, okay, if this is something that you actually want, you're going to want it a week from now. A lot of times I want something in the moment, and then a couple days later be like, good and well, you ain't going to go out and do X, Y, and Z. Don't waste your money. Or let's revisit this in a couple of months and see if I'm still interested in something. That's me. I've learned my personality, and that's another thing that I have come to terms with over these 36 years, that I don't want to say an ebber and a flower, but I'm one of those people that goes through different stages, or I go through, oh, this is exciting, this is new, I want to try this. I was vegan for 3 months, maybe 3 weeks. I think it was more like 3 weeks. What else did one of my little, I don't want to say sessions, one of my, I'm going to cook more. I'm going to spend $300-$400 on this pressure cooker. And I got the, the crock pot, the pressure cooker thing, those things. I bought one of those. I think I used it like a total of 6 times. And I bought that thing maybe 5 years ago. I think it's sitting in my parents' basement. I ended up giving it to my dad so he could cook with it. I know that I tend to be one of those kinds of people that gets an idea of doing something in their head. I want to start running. I'm going to work out. I'll buy $300 worth of workout gear, new sneakers, and, 3 sets of leggings and some crop tops and sports bras. I'll go outside once. It's who I am. So I try to, not judge myself. That's one of the things that has been pretty difficult, though, is not judging myself so critically and so harshly, not being, I feel like I don't feel like, I know that I judge myself more than I judge other people. I'm probably one of the most understanding and compassionate people that you marginally know. And that's not even an exaggeration. That is something that I can 100% say about myself factually. I really try not to be a judgy person. I just have a capacity to kind of get or understand why somebody would do almost anything. I don't always approve of what they do, or it's not always something that I would do, but I'm a good storyteller, and that storyteller extends to, I could possibly think of a couple different reasons why this would have made sense for this person to do in this situation, right? But I don't extend that same storytelling to myself. It's always you should do this, or that should have been done, or why would you even not know that this could be a thing? I'm really harsh and critical on myself. And that's one of the things that I have not yet been able to mitigate too well, but it's a learning progress. And if I did learn any one consistent, I don't even like saying that. I've learned a lot of different things, and all of those lessons are important. But one of those lessons would be, I'm not going to have it all figured out, and I'm not going to be good at everything at once. I'm not going to, go through every stage of my life during this stage as well as I would like to do it. And that's what makes living life a little bit more exciting, right? You have the opportunity to do it better. It's the way with travel. You have the opportunity to learn more, to see more, and to learn from your mistakes. I made a ton of travel mistakes, if you will, when I started traveling, but I lived through the experience, and I have the experience now that I could share and try to help other people from making the same mistakes, like staying at a cheaper accommodation that's further away from the city, but now you're spending 10 times more than you would have liked to because you're paying for taxis and just sitting on the bus or the train for 4 hours trying to, get to the center of the city to do all of the exciting things that you actually went to this destination to do in the first place. Or they're out of your reach now because they either cost too much or they take too long for you to get there. So little lessons like that I've learned because I made the mistake. And I feel like some lessons are just easier to learn through your own experience versus through secondhand experience. It's easier to learn it when you do it, when you fuck it up, versus when someone tells you how they fucked it up, right? There's some things that just don't resonate the same. And alas, we all have those lessons that we had to learn on our own, and lessons that we haven't learned completely or fully yet. And, not living in my head and beating myself up. I mean, I don't think I'm overly critical, but I do think that I would not be criticized as much by someone else as I would criticize myself. So I don't know if that constitutes overcritical definitively, but you get where I'm going. But one thing I will always buy is a new bathing suit. That's the one thing that I love having a lot of, especially because I refuse to spend more than maybe like $30. And that's even stretching it. I love Matte, which I just found out was a Black-owned company. So I've got probably the most bathing suits from Matte, and that's Matte. Actually, I'll throw that affiliate link in the description box. Feel free to grab some of those swimsuits. What else? There's Matte, and they'll also, spoiler or pro tip, they have $10 sales, $16 sales, buy one, get one, 50% off sales. There's always a freaking sale at Matte. So follow them or sign up to their mailing list, whatever it is you got to do. Be in the know because the suits are cute. I think that they're good quality. They fit well when you find what size works for you. And I've always been pleased with those suits when they come in. But Matte, Amazon, the prices on Amazon done went up, y'all. But you can still find $10, $20, $15 swimsuits. And I've had relatively decent luck with Amazon suits. Amazon suits, you may end up getting something like the sizing may be a little janky, but overall, I'm cool with, cheap bathing suits because I don't have a lot to really fall out. I'm not really, there's certain things that aren't of an issue to me that works for me to be able to buy them really cheap. Also because I don't want to wear them more than the one time. So for me, a $10 suit, $20 suit, 2 chef's kiss in one episode. So I am having to remind myself, however, especially when I'm going to local destinations, that I don't have to pack or I don't have to have as much shit as I would tell myself I'd feel comfortable having if I'm going international. If I need Tylenol, I'll be in Florida. I can just ask the front desk for Tylenol. If I, run out of tampons, I can go to CVS and buy tampons. I'm in the United States. So I'm having to remind myself that I don't necessarily have to pack the same way that I would if I were going to a location where I was going to have a difficult time deciphering or understanding the language to find what I needed, or if not knowing whether or not the same products or the same safety measures were put or held over products the way that I know them or the way that I shop or am comfortable with in the United States. So I was on Amazon about to order more Pepto, travel Tylenol. Well, not travel Tylenol, but a bunch of different travel medications. I'm like, sis, for what? You in the United States, fucking Walgreens, you can make it happen. So I'm realizing that in hindsight, I should probably do an audit, if you will, on what is necessary and what is nice to have. So that is a little, I'm going to maybe, possibly, not sure yet, try to downsize my packing, especially now that I know that if I need something, I can just buy it. Not in spend mad money or spending money that I don't have to, but it's also just stuff. A lot of times just stuff is just stuff and it's not useful, or it's a comfort for me to have and to not need anything. Excuse me. It's a comfort for me in a lot of instances to not have to ask for anything, to not have to rely on someone else to get or, advise me as to where I can find different things. But I'm seeing it in a light where it's kind of like, okay, might be doing a lot. You will be fine if you have to adapt and figure something else out, or you'll be fine if you have to, go with I don't want to say necessary, with with an alternative that'll work, but maybe not as well as, you would have liked for what you initially anticipated. It makes sense in my head. I just feel like I'm seeing where I am doing more to stress myself out. And that's what it is. That's what I was leaving out. I'm seeing that I'm stressing myself out about little things like, shit, all right, so do I have to walk to Target now after I get off work? Or, all right, maybe if I drive up here, I'll go pick this up. Or for what? What are the chances that you're going to need this? Have you ever used it in another country? All right, no. You can actually buy it in this country if you need it. Relax. You don't have to go out of your way. You don't have to spend extra on the travel version of it. You don't have to buy X, Y, and Z to have just in case you need, or you don't need to buy a new one of these to test this out. You'll be fine. So it's been a little bit more of a reminder that, I'm fine with what I have and I can absolutely make do. And I also had a moment. It was most recently I remembered, but I think it's been one of those things that it's kind of like when you buy a red car and you start seeing red cars everywhere. It's been one of those, I guess, messages that I've seen, frequently reiterated to remember that you have some of the things that you prayed for, or to recognize when you have something that you've prayed for. And I remember, I'll share with you the most recent kind of aha, like I was exploring and tinkering around with my new suitcase. I broke a wheel on my last suitcase years ago. I think I bought this, let's say I bought the suitcase in, let's just say June 2018. By December 2018, there was a broken wheel. So I'd been carrying around a suitcase with a broken wheel for like 2 years. And it was because I would keep forgetting that the wheel was broken, because I'd drag it home and then put it in the closet and then not think about it till I went someplace else and be like, fuck, I ain't gonna buy no suitcase right now. It's not gonna make it here in time. And I'm absolutely not going to Macy's. And I'm also just over buying suitcases from Macy's because they keep breaking. So I'd had my eye on an away suitcase for quite some time. And I was just like, oof, I am the $100 suitcase girl. I've bought, I actually had one really good suitcase. That was my green suitcase. I love that one. I bought that from Macy's. I think I spent like $100. That lasted me for about 3 years, 2 years. And then the last one, it lasts a couple of months. And I just didn't have it in me to go through the whole warranty process. They make it so difficult. Long and short, I need a new suitcase. I had my eye on that away suitcase for the longest with the, the charger inside. And I finally got one. I got it. And I was sitting on the couch with Justin, and I'm looking over. I'm like, no, actually, I was sitting on the floor. And I was reading the little handbook that comes with it that explains, like, your warranties and how to clean it and, that kind of shit that they put in the bag. And I'm like, I've wanted one of these for years. I got one. Like, I got something that I wanted. And that has reminded me to not necessarily focus so much on what I haven't done, or what I haven't amounted to, or what I haven't accomplished, or, what's still on the horizon to be done. Not necessarily to, dismiss the work that still needs to be done to get where I want to get, but sometimes to just take more moments to kind of recognize I didn't give up. I'm still going. And I've absolutely gained so many things that I wanted 2 years ago that I have now. I've had a lot of prayers answered. And I'm not really a praying person, honestly. So this is more in theory, if you will. But, I wouldn't say I'm a traditionally praying person. Like, I was raised Catholic, so I don't go to church. I don't believe in, I guess, the narrative of God that they taught me in school, if you will. I think I've kind of grown into and curated my own beliefs from, learning about different belief systems and cultures, and it just feels good to me. For me, God is just the universe, and I don't necessarily believe that there has to be one God, but I do believe that there is one overall higher, greater power. That the way, and what's so weird is that when Catholics say we believe in one God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth. And what's wild is I haven't been to church in years, but them Catholic schools, man, routine will absolutely work. Because if I were to go to church tomorrow, and before they did the whole new Apostles' Creed and all them church changes that they made and shit, as soon as you open your mouth and you start talking, you start speaking, it all comes out. So back to my little point I was making. Catholics will have you think that, there's one God, right? But then they also say, like, there's God, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus Christ. So it's kind of like, So granted, y'all always said that, like, God was like the highest power, but then the Holy Spirit and Jesus were like, ooh, but you can still pray to them. You can still ask them for stuff. Mary, you can still pray to her. You can still ask her for stuff. The saints, you can still pray to her. You can still ask her for stuff. And then, like, shit on people that believed in multiple gods. It just didn't really make sense. It's like, so y'all praying to so many other people, and Saint Anthony's protecting me from this, or Saint Anthony my grandma would always pray to Saint Anthony when she would lose something, and or she would say, ask your uncle Anthony to help you look for something, or to help you find something. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all. That's not what I'm getting at. But between orishas and deities and religions that have multiple gods, it's just like all same shit, y'all. It's all the same. So it's, one of those things where it's just like, for me personally, higher power, I can just ask for what I want. I can speak my desires openly and rely on whatever good there is in the world to help me get or find my way to that, or to help align my greater good with those desires that I have. So that being said, I really think that not, being thankful for the things that I've been able to manifest for myself gives a pretty shit message to the universe, since I've asked for these things, right? And it's not necessarily an easy thing to do. It's not something that, consistently happens on its own. I'm finding it to be an intentional practice. And I don't think that I've always considered certain life functions to be intentional. I feel like at one point I just thought, okay, at some point I'm going to get to that stage of my life where I'm just grateful for everything and it all just makes sense. Seeing that that's not really the case. I'm seeing that it's going to be one of those Dana ebb and flows. It's going to be one of those things where I have to consistently remind myself, and I have to relearn certain things. And that's okay. I don't have to have it all figured out. I don't know everything there is about travel, but I'm here to travel enough to learn as much as the universe is going to allow for. And I'm going to have a good time while I do it. So it's been a good year. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my health, because I think whether you've wanted to or not, and whether you've been fighting it or not, this past year, almost 2 years now, has been a really big eye-opener for a lot of us to really be reminded of how important your health is. And I'm grateful for mine. I'm grateful for that of my family's. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to rest. And I think that I, have seen how much happier I am and how much more healthy and full as a person, as myself, I feel when I'm able to get the appropriate rest. And while I may not have been able to figure out how to quit my job yet, it's, I'm able to now see what a life without that kind of stress looks like. And I've also learned through these years that I have to do a much better job of protecting my own peace, because I do it in some ways very well. I do not allow for negativity in my home. My home is my temple. Like, my house is very peaceful. I love where I live. And I've always been in any apartment I've had of my own space where I control the tone. I've always been very, very particular about that. I don't play about that. My house is going to be a safe space for me, period. And I am getting better with extending that safety to my mental. I'm getting better at learning what I need, learning what does not work for me, and learning what I will not tolerate, and learning what hurts. It's, life will always give you those kinds of lessons. And while I've learned to adapt through travel, right? I've learned to pick up, pack, change, learn new hacks and tips and tricks, packing cubes and discount codes and all of that shit in terms of apps for cheap flights and ways to do it affordably. And there's a million different ways for that. And, I've spent all this time doing it for travel. And now it's kind of like the reminder that, okay, you get to do that for yourself also. You get to listen to what your spirit is telling you. You get to listen to what your heart is telling you about how you feel, and, adapt. And all the lessons I've learned through the mistakes of travel, it's been a reflection of my past year, has reminded me to really extend that ability to shift and pivot to myself. So that's pretty much it. If you want to give me a birthday gift, feel free to visit the website. There should be a link to donate if you want. Throw some shit in the PayPal, or I don't know if the Cash App is in there. If you feel so inclined, that's cool. But I really just want you to stream the podcast. Join the mailing list. I have a shit ton of ideas. There's so much that I have in my head that I am actively working on making come to life. And I would really love to have your support with that. And I can see your support in the data, in the analytics. So keep listening to the podcast. When you finish this episode, even if you're not going to listen, put on some other ones to play. Pop back in, and you may pop into an episode that you haven't heard that has a message that you haven't gotten. Share the podcast with your friends. Tell your friends about it. Tell your cousins about it. Tell your coworkers about it. Share it on your social media. Stream it. Visit the website. I would really, really, really appreciate you supporting my work in that way. I would love to see, those numbers jump. And also, don't forget, I'm doing the giveaway with Danielle of Alma Ocean. So definitely head over to that episode so that you can click the link in the description. The only way to be entered for the free pool or the floaters is to join that mailing list. And I would love to see you there. I don't send a lot of emails, so you don't have to worry about that. But I do have some cute little nuggets and, helpful information that should be hitting those inboxes before the summer is out. So you got to be there to get it. That's pretty much it. Happy birthday to me, and happy birthday to all the other Leos. May we all receive the gifts that we want as well as the gifts we need. And this has been another example of how travel is so much more than vacation. Not so much as some other episodes, but I realized I haven't done my little tagline. I haven't, signed off the episode with travel is more than vacation, right? But, in this instance, I learned a lot of lessons through travel. So shit, it applies. Travel is more than vacation, y'all. I will see you next week. Bye.